Like, let's say someone sends me a track and they ask for feedback. The thing that stands out to me that I'll criticize the most is like how the track progresses. So you've got the 16 here and then the next 16. If there's no elements making those 16 bar sections have a bit of variation, that will kind of lose my attention for a bit. Having that sense of progression and variation is just very crucial to making your song more interesting and stand out. So I just use vocal samples to do that. So this is it without the vocal effect. With kind of prepares you for the next 16 bar section. These are the drums. I'll just go through them one by one real quick. So this is a kick from Swindow's pack. These are the hi-hats. Like, they're different layers of hi-hats. So this is like a default hi-hat from an 808 drum machine. It's just called Tape 808 Sample Pack. This is the snare, which is a layer of two snares. So this is a snare from Swindow's pack again, but it's slightly edited, so it's not in the pack right now. Yeah, so is this one. I'm not sure where this one came from. Might be from a different pack. I've also got this reverbed snare to add like a bit of variation in the mix. I'm doing a thing here. I've bounced out the same drums, but added like some slapback, a little bit of slapback reverb in the back. It's like a really subtle but like effective way to make your drums stand out. When you sort out the rhythm for your drums, you have to imagine you're a drummer. Through the course of the song, a drummer will like add some fills, he'll hit the toms a little bit, maybe just add some crash cymbals as well. So you're basically just doing that. You're adding some variation in the rhythm of the drum loop. At the first 16 of the drums, I'll add like something at the end just to like make it sound a bit more interesting. And then at the end of the 32 bars, maybe just have something that kind of ends the whole, like it kind of concludes the whole rhythm of the drums. So in this example, I literally just added like a quick snare. Using different time signatures really helps as well. If you change your snapping to, let's say, quarter step, I don't know what these are called, you can just get like weird rhythms this way, something like that. These original harmonies that Clementine sent. Focus when you're looking at me. Focus when you're looking at me. But I felt that just the lead vocal by itself was more memorable than just having all these different vocal takes in there as well. So I took them out because I felt like this lead vocal by itself just stands out nicely. Just added absolutely nothing to them. There's no processing or anything that's been done. They just sound good as they are. So this is it with the vocal harmonies. Without. Yeah, just add like some really nice spice on top. There's also this section, which has like 4 additional voices for the harmonies. It's just what's making this sound really nice is like how I've panned everything. This harmony bus is also going into the side, the mid-side EQ. This is what they sound like without. Like with. Actually, the label that I released my Purity EP on are the ones that reached out to Clementine. You know, I never knew her before that, and she sent me back a demo. I think I still have it. Originally, Clementine didn't write anything for this section. So I literally just took a verse. I'm ready to give it. I'm ready to give it my all. I took a verse and just repeated that, and I felt like that's a really nice way for the drop to like still kind of sound the same but slightly different. Okay, now I remember why I had an auto-tune thing in here. It's so that you can hear some formatting that makes someone's voice sound like more feminine or more manly. This automation here is basically controlling the throat length. I'm ready to give it. I'm ready to give it my all. If I turn this off, you can hear like it stays the same throughout. I'm ready to give it my all. And then when I turn it on, see, I like to make my second drops different, but all I did was just change the snare to a rim. Felt like it was a really nice sample to use. I just felt like in the context of a Future Garage / two-step song, this worked really nicely. But yeah, the second drop is pretty much the same as the first one, except that tiny variation in the drums. First drop. This is the second drop, which is pretty much the same as the first, except the tiny difference in drums. So I'll either just change the drums or I'll change the instruments I'm using in the second drop. I've been doing this thing recently where I just try my best to make it sound different, but it's really, really nice and effective. The whole thing of having a different second drop is really important. I feel like there's people out there that will always skip to the drop because that's what they came for. Like, if the first drop of a song is impressive enough, the second drop should be just as good, or maybe try your best to take it to the next level, because like that's just, to the listener, that's just a really, really nice treat. So like throughout the years that I've been making music and just doing different arrangements, for this song, I imagined the arrangement of the song in a way that, oh, how would a DJ mix this? If you're trying to make your song kind of like commercial, then, you know, go for the usual intro, chorus, breakdown, chorus, outro. That's the format I go for most of the time. If you're trying to get over that hurdle where you're struggling to arrange your song in a way that you like it, just try and experiment as much as possible. Try and see if your DAW has the option to do different arrangements. I can't lie, I struggle with arrangement myself as well, and that can be a massive hurdle towards getting your song finished. Patience will take you far if you can just stick to an idea, because I find myself giving up only because of arrangement. Like, I'll have a really nice intro or a really nice drop, and I will have no idea where to take it after that. So I'll find myself just closing my DAW and never coming back to that song again just because of that. So it's really important to stay as committed to an idea as possible. That doesn't mean you have to force yourself every time. It's okay to step away from an idea and never see it again, but you have to make sure that that's not something that happens, you know, all the time. Otherwise, you just won't get that far with most things. Like, if I have a piece of sound design I'm doing and the sound design is like in the right place, but I can make it a lot better, then just sitting down and just doing those little tiny tweaks that take ages will be super worth it in the end. As tedious and cumbersome as they might be, that's the stuff you have to do that you don't like to do, but for the sake of getting your song finished, like, that's just something you have to sit down and just try your best to focus on. I don't know. You just know when it's done. Like you can. Sometimes I tell myself this could be a lot longer than it is now, or I could do something different with this section of the song. I gave up towards the end of focus. Like there's no. For me, I feel like that wasn't the song finished, but since it was such a long process, like hours and hours of work just to get the entire mix and arrangement like at a spot where I want it to be, I just called it a day because an artist's work is never done. A song can be 30 seconds, can be a minute. The point at which you know a song is done is completely up to you. There's no definitive way to know, like, yes, this song is done. I always have this voice in my head telling me, like, things could always be better, things could always be better. And I do that a lot. And sometimes, as a result, the song might end up getting worse because I'm just doing too much. Basically, all the drums are being processed or not being processed individually, and they're going into this drum bus here. It's just an EQ. So yeah, this is just a low pass / high pass, and I really like doing this to add variation. So the only things I'm processing in the drums is the kick and the snare. So yeah, the snare's just got an EQ and then a limiter. Okay, so there's like a bit of control in the peaks of all these elements when they hit. So the snare, so that's being like beefed up with this distortion, fast distortion. And then there's this EQ. So I'm just cutting all the low end because there's like, you can see all these artifacts in there and they're just like, they shouldn't be there. So I'm boosting the parts of the snare that actually stand out the most. So you go from this to this. There's not a lot of processing being done. I think the samples themselves stand on their own. This is with the effects on. I do this thing in my master. I add some kind of distortion plugin so that the entire thing clips nicely. So if I turn my master off, this is what it sounds like. Like this, that's literally the pre-master before I add a distortion plugin to like clip the drums nicely. So I'll make sure that the drums are like louder than everything else in my mix, so that when I clip with the distortion plugin, the drums have some crunch at the top. And then after that, there's a Fab Filter L, which is just a limiter, stopping everything, like just bringing up all the levels of everything. I only like using the imager in Ozone 8. With it off, it sounds like this. On, it sounds like this. So my mastering chain will change a lot depending on like the genre of the song that I'm making. Now I kind of just work using all stock plugins. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this breakdown. I really hope you learned something new today. You can follow me on Twitch at Laxcity Music, where I stream 3 days a week and kind of break down my production. So you can drop in, ask any questions that you want to know, or just ask me to tell you how to make a certain sound. If you want the samples that were used in this breakdown, there is a link in the description to my Splice sample pack that you can go check out and maybe use those sounds in your own productions. And as usual, hope you have a nice day, and thank you for watching this breakdown.